What's the most significant measure of success for a Catholic college or university, and what's the most important question such an institution should ask itself? I'm Dr. Richard Bolzakelli for Catholic Studies Academy, and in this video, I'm going to answer this question. But before we get started, you could help us accomplish our mission if you just hit that thumbs up button, like and subscribe, get notified of future content, and share our content on social media. Now, I've been involved in Catholic higher education either as a student or as a professor pretty much my whole adult life. As a professor, I've held full-time positions and adjunct positions at various institutions, and I've consulted in program development and Catholic identity at colleges and seminaries people in this audience have probably heard of. It's been almost 20 years since I took my first full-time appointment as a visiting instructor at St. Francis University in Loretto, Pennsylvania, where I taught for 2 years in the Department of Philosophy and Religion. Additionally, of course, I've come to know a lot of other scholars who've taught at other institutions, and now over the course of several decades, I've come to understand the culture of higher education, and in particular, Catholic higher education better than most people do, better than most sending parents who want to see their children benefit from a college education, and certainly much better than their sons and daughters who are applying to college as incoming freshmen. Of course, college costs a lot of money, so naturally people want to know what they're getting for that expense. What's the average return on investment for the colleges on your shortlist? How quickly will a graduate from this school earn back his or her investment in the form of realized higher earning potential? How likely is a graduate from this school to get hired right away after graduating? These are good questions. To be sure, they're important questions when we're talking about an investment of tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars on top of 4 or more years of foregone earnings, years in which a work history and salary history could have been established but wasn't for the sake of earning a college degree. But they're not the most important questions. Many times people want to know about the incommensurable goods all this money will buy. Now, I remember my own college years very fondly, and I'm convinced that I personally grew in ways I wouldn't have grown had I not gone to college. And it was in the main a good thing. It wasn't all good, but I think it set me on the path to a much more fulfilling life than I otherwise would have had. I met new people who broadened my sense of community and helped me to think new thoughts about myself and my experiences that I probably wouldn't otherwise have thought. I made deep and lasting friendships in college, not based solely or primarily on the accidents of birth, like the friendships of childhood, but on common intellectual and artistic pursuits, vital aspirations and values, what Aristotle calls the highest form of friendship. To this very day, I communicate regularly with some of the people I came to know and befriend within my first week on campus. I couldn't put a price on that if you asked me to. And that too is an important thing, but even that isn't the most important thing for a Catholic college or university. Now, what about those great experiences that can be gotten only at a college or university? And more precisely, here on this campus as opposed to at some other school. I'm talking about those experiences that have to do precisely with the cultural richness historically associated with a college campus, whereon a person is exposed to the arts and to great works of literature and poetry and philosophy under the guidance of dynamic professors who obviously value these things. They introduce their students to Socrates or St. Augustine, Fra Angelico or Francis Thompson, not just as long-dead people of the past, but as if they were alive and here with us now, as if they were old friends. Some schools do this better than others, and the number of schools that do it well today is quickly shrinking. Historic reputation is no guarantee here either. The kind of good I'm speaking of here is certainly one you should seek for your time and money. It's important. It's one of the most important goods you should seek from a college. But I'm afraid it's still not the most important thing not for a Catholic college. You see, today, accreditation requirements involve an awful lot of self-assessment for colleges and universities. They're asked to reflect on their mission statements and strategic plans and to ask themselves how, in measurable ways, what they do in the classroom serves their stated purposes. So today, departments of institutional research ask themselves a lot of questions about what they do and how they know they've done it, what people can expect to get for the money they spend there. But what very few Catholic colleges or universities in the United States and Europe ask is whether or not you're more likely to go to heaven because you went there. Granted, there's no way to measure this for sure, but if we put the question in more concrete terms, we could get some useful information. It's information we should want if we're Catholic students or Catholic parents getting ready to send our children off to college. This is the most important question a Catholic college or university should ask. It's the most important measure of success. Do we at this school graduate more Catholics than we admit? Are the Catholics we graduate stronger in their faith and clearer about its teaching, and do they live their lives in closer conformity to the Church's moral standards than when they arrived on campus in their freshman year? Do people grow closer to God and more faithful to His commandments in the time they spend on this campus? Once again, to my knowledge, most Catholic colleges and universities in the United States and Europe don't ask themselves this question. Their departments of institutional research aren't interested in this measurement. Whether that's because they've lost their way or because they've simply chosen a different path altogether, leading to a different destination, depends on the particular institution. But if you were asking my opinion about any given Catholic college or university, I'd first want to be clear that they understood the essential and universal mission of any Catholic college or university, specifically as Catholic, which involves precisely in their approach to higher learning, evangelization and leading people to heaven, and that they were deliberate in their practical exercise of it in terms of hiring, curriculum, and student life. And I want proof of it in their track record. Not just how many of their graduates go on to earn advanced degrees or obtain gainful employment within 6 months of graduation, the same questions any purely secular university would ask, but how many of them remain faithful once they arrive on campus, and once they graduate, how many of them enter into faithful marriages or into religious life or go on to be ordained as priests and then remain committed to their vocations? If a Catholic college or university as a community understands and values its authentic, essential mission, almost anyone on campus, whether faculty or staff or student or administrator, should be able to speak to these questions easily. Now, at most Catholic colleges, admissions officers would probably say that they could do this. But would they really be able to do it? Would nearly everyone at the school be able to do it? I'm not talking about speaking in generalities or in platitudes about abstract values embraced by its inclusive and diverse, socially active student body, most of whom, with a closer look, in their time on campus have come to think of abortion and same-sex marriage as fundamental rights, or in any event, haven't seen their views on the matter challenged by exposure to the voices of the greatest fathers and doctors of the Church, whose reasoned views stand in conformity to the constant teaching and tradition of the Church on matters of faith and morals. Nor am I speaking of an appeal by a few people on campus with institutional memory, referring again and again to the same one or two cases of positive outcomes spread over several years. I'm speaking about concrete and personal accounts and a densely populated litany of examples. Students could speak of how they've overcome doubts, how they've undergone conversions of heart and mind, not from rigid and archaic Pharisaism, but from secular systems of value and modes of thought. They could speak of how they've abandoned certain sins or have come to value the freedom from sin for which they strive with the help of the sacraments and the encouragement of their classmates and professors who walk with them in solidarity. Everyone on campus from sophomore year and up should know of graduates who've taken their faith into the world with them. So again, what's the most important measure of success for a Catholic college or university? What's the most serious question they should ask themselves? Well, here it is. As far as their salvation is concerned, are their students and graduates better off for having gone to school there? Does going to that college or university bring people closer to God and closer to heaven? Why is this question so important? Because this is the one that cuts most directly to their mission, specifically as a Catholic college or university. And if the answer is no, going there could cost a lot more than money. After all, what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world but loses his soul? So those are my thoughts on the subject. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, ask for notifications, and share our content on social media. Doing so helps us reach a broader audience and hopefully lead more souls to heaven. Again, I'm Dr. Richard Bulzachelli for Catholic Studies Academy. Thanks for watching.